Hi everyone, this is Cham Seng from TDS. Welcome to another E3D Hidden Gem. In today's video, we'll explore the pipe router utility available in AVEVA E3D. The pipe router is a rule-based routing tool capable of automatically routing single or multiple pipes. Although this capability has existed since the PDMS days, many users may not have fully explored its potential. Because this utility has been around for many years, it is a mature and proven solution with a wide range of routing controls and configuration options. In this video, we'll look at how the pipe router works, how to set it up, and how it can help improve routing efficiency in your piping workflow. Let's get started. We'll begin with the same model used in the previous hidden gem demonstration. To prepare for the pipe router example, I'll first remove the routing plane together with the previously routed pipe components. We launch the pipe router directly from the piping application. The utility is integrated within the piping environment, allowing us to access the routing functions directly from the ribbon interface. We'll begin by creating the routing planes for the pipe rack. The pipe rack is an element that is stored in the database below a framework. The planes of the pipe rack define the routing paths and regions that the pipe router uses during the automatic routing process. There are two main types of routing planes, travel planes and entry-exit planes. Let's give our pipe rack a name. We first define the travel direction of the pipe rack. The routing direction is orthogonal, meaning it can be set either as north-south or east-west depending on the orientation of the rack. Next, we define the pipe rack area using two corner points. First, select corner 1 from the drop-down and pick the corresponding position in the 3D view. We then repeat the same process for corner 2 to define the overall routing region of the pipe rack. The pipe rack routing area has now been defined. Notice that the red boundary lines represent the routing region of the pipe rack, while the arrows indicate the travel direction of the routing flow within the rack. Next, we define the pipe rack properties that will be shared by all the routing planes within the pipe rack. Once defined, the same properties are automatically applied to all the generated routing planes in the pipe rack. Properties include pipe positioning as well as the number of travel planes. With the properties defined, the planes are created. We have create and travel plane at 3 meters elevation and an entry and exit plane at 4 meter elevation. The planes can be seen as translucent in the 3D view. The generated routing structure currently places the travel plane below the entry and exit planes. Let's modify the entry and exit plane elevation to 2.5 meters. To do this, we select the corresponding plane definition and update the elevation value directly in the form. Select Replace to update the plane definition. The 3D view is also updated. Next, we'll use the pipe rack as a routing constraint for the pipes that we are going to route. This allows the pipe router to recognize the routing framework and use the defined planes during the automatic routing process. We now add the branches that we want to route into the pipe router branch list. Notice that the status of these branches is currently shown as not routed. Only branches with the status not routed are eligible for automatic routing by the pipe router. Let's look at the routing details for the branch. In the branch details, you can see the head, tail, and the corresponding head waypoint and tail waypoint. These waypoint positions define where the automatic routing begins and ends. The user can adjust these points to control the start and end locations used by the pipe router during routing generation. Next, we'll add the pipe rack as a routing constraint for the branch. This allows the pipe router to use the routing planes within the pipe rack when routing the pipe. Let's copy the routing constraint to the other branches. I first select the branch that already contains the routing constraint. From the menu, I choose Modify Branch Copy Constraint to copy the same routing constraint to the other branches. When we check the branch details for the other branches, you can see the pipe rack constraint. Let's now do the routing for all the branches. You can now see that the pipes are guided into the rack through the entry and exit planes, while the main routing path follows the travel planes within the pipe rack structure. To further improve the routing result, we're going to create an additional exit plane. Before we can reroute the pipes, we first need to reset the branches that have already been routed. You can see that the piping components from our previous routing has been deleted and the status is back to not routed. Navigate to the pipe rack element and modify. We now open the pipe rack modification form to review and adjust the default settings applied to all the routing planes within the pipe rack. We'll now modify the spacing configuration so the clearance between pipes is calculated based on flange-to-flange spacing. The next configuration step is to add another set of entry and exit planes. We start by selecting the existing entry and exit plane definition and modifying its elevation value. After making the changes, instead of choosing Replace, we select Include so the new planes are added while keeping the existing ones. Let's run the pipe routing again. This time, we'll route one branch first. We add the updated pipe rack constraint to the branch. As we have done before, we copy the constraint to the other two branches. We route one branch first so we can clearly observe the effect of the new configuration and the additional entry and exit planes. Notice how the route now makes use of the newly created entry and exit plane. Instead of leaving the rack at the travel plane elevation, the pipe transitions through the additional routing level before continuing. This gives us greater flexibility and allows the routing structure to better accommodate more complex pipe arrangements within the rack. We'll now complete the routing for the remaining two branches. You can also observe the pipe spacing configuration taking effect, with the routes maintaining the defined flange-to-flange clearance between the pipes. We can also go into the branch details to delete the components when needed. This is useful when only part of the branch needs to be automatically, perhaps with change of constraints. That brings us to the end of this E3D Hidden Gem. We hope this tutorial has helped you better understand the capabilities of the pipe router and how routing planes, constraints, and configuration settings can be used to improve your piping workflow. The pipe router is a mature and powerful utility that has been available since the PDMS days, and it still offers many useful capabilities for efficient pipe routing in E3D today. Thank you for watching, and we hope you continue to enjoy working with E3D. If you found this tutorial useful, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with your team so you don't miss any future E3D Hidden Gems. See you in the next video.